Baba Pache Pache Dai Tava Pache Pache Dai Tava Pache Pache. Beginning. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakor Doya Sagara He Dase Karuna Kore. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakora Doya Sagara He Dase Karuna Kore. 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 Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Ashtota Sarasli Bhakti A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Ashtota Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Kota Vaishnavinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Singh Ho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasti Gopindavinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Ganga Maya Ki Jamuna Maya Ki Tulsi Deva Ki Bhakti Deva Ki Samaveta Bhaktivinda Ki Lord Chaitanya's Harinam Sankirtan Ki Brihat Madanga Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj Avibhav Mahamahotsav Ki. Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj Tirubhav Mahamahotsav Ki. Gaura Premanandi. All glorious to the assembled devotees. All glorious to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glorious to Srila Prabhupada. Nam Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nevasesha Sunyavadi Pastichade Shatarine. Hare Krishna. Welcome everybody on this very auspicious day of the Avirbhav, the appearance day of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Is also, you may know, is the anniversary of the Tirobhav of His Divine Grace Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. Some of you may have, I don't know if anyone here ever actually personally met him. He departed this world in 1996 in Mayapur on this day. So that's another topic, of course. We don't have, we'd have to read something, but we're not going to. Time is short. But if you have the time today, read some of the glories of Gaur Govinda Maharaj, one of the most exceptional devotees that has appeared within our midst. disciple of Srila Prabhupada, of course, and a great inspiration to the whole world by his presence. He brings tirtha, these great souls transform wherever they are into tirthas, places where Krishna is manifested, or his presence is manifested there. Wherever he would go, he would simply absorb everyone in remembering Krishna and glorifying Krishna, like that. So today, here we see on this slide, we'll be going through a few slides, but we'll also be reading. So, the Acharya's son. What is that? Where did that happen? Can we stop that type of thing happening? Well, look at my screen. It went ding, ding, ding. Maybe somebody was ringing me on WhatsApp or something. Can we turn WhatsApp off? And it just went flash back to there. A little square box came on, and that was that. No. Bop out. I hope it comes back on. I don't know. Maybe it's already there. That was the screen we were on.
It's on there.
But it's not on here. Where has it gone to? You can try PowerPoint and see if it's saved there somewhere. The strange effects of modern technology. I'm not sure if we're connected to the internet right now, to the PowerPoint. We're not.
That's a keynote, isn't it?
Yes, well that's the one I'm trying to use there. It's not PowerPoint, it's Keynote. Are we on?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't use, I've got PowerPoint, but it is not functioning on my computer properly for some reason. Unknown to all. So the Acharya's son, the ray of Vishnu, of course we have these various statements referring to Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj have come from various sources. The ray of Vishnu was particularly a statement made by his personal father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He was praying for a ray of Vishnu. Well, we'll try to discuss that tonight if the Lord wishes. And the Vaikuntha man, this was a statement made by Srila Prabhupada. He described him as a Vaikuntha man. Singha Guru because he was lion-like in his fearlessness. Nobody could, people may challenge, but nobody could. He was undefeatable. This is the nature of eternal associate of the Lord. He is an eternal associate of the Lord. We're not going to get into the history this morning. You hear it over and over and over again, all the different stories, which we may hear some tonight. This morning we're going to try to enter a little bit more, you could say, into his mood and into his emphasis on the purpose of his appearance in this world. So as an Acharya's son, the sun, when the sun rises in the morning, it dissipates the darkness of night. So when a genuine ray of Vishnu, one of Lord Vishnu's own men, so to speak, appears in this world, it dissipates the darkness of ignorance of this world. So he came for this reason, to assist his father and all the Vaishnavas in their line, ultimately Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna, in dissipating the darkness that people are in, the ignorance on more or less every subject matter, but primarily their ignorance of their identity, their eternal nature, their relationship with the Supreme Lord, and the nature of the Supreme Lord. So this is a little, this is the Mangalacharana of Srila Prabhupada's Gita Gan. Gita Gan was a small book which Prabhupada had produced early years, in the early 70s, in Bengal, to be distributed in Bengali, to be distributed amongst the people in general. a simple kind of condensed presentation of the Bhagavad Gita, Gita Gan. And this was his Mangalacharana. We have our Mangalacharana. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Shvayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Shvabadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So this is Prabhupada's Mangalacharana. Shri Guru Vandana Kori Dhanhara Charanadori Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada Arajata Siksha Guru Sabe Vanchaka Pataru Kripakara Guchaka Vishar. I offer obeisances unto my spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, and take hold of his lotus feet, and unto my various Siksha Gurus, who are all like desired trees, I pray, please be merciful and remove all of my sorrows. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. Shri Bharsha Banavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha. Shri Varshabhana Videvi Daitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Varshabhanavi Devi Daita Das, another name of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. There's different stories about how he received this name or assumed this name. Some say, or some stories, or some say evidence shows that he had this name when he was in his youth, and other biographies or whatever you call it say that his initiation he received this name, whichever one it was, from the year 2000 onwards, 1900, 2000, the year 1900 onwards, this was the name which he was commonly addressed by. Sri Varshabhanavi Devi Daita Das, at least up until he took sannyas, who is favoured by Srimati Radharani, and who is the ocean of transcendental mercy, and the deliverer of the science of Krishna. He, of course, he's like most of our acharyas, practically all in our line. In most cases, we find that their eternal identity, so to speak, in their original forms, which is Swarup. In this world, they appear in a sadhaka form. But in the spiritual realm, when they role in relationship with Krishna, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, like his father, he's an assistant actually in the spiritual realm. His father was Kamala Manjari, who was a close assistant to Rupa Manjari, and then Lalita Devi and Radharani ultimately. So he is Nayana Manjari, one of the Manjaris in that party, assisting in the pastimes between Radha and Krishna, and so on. So in that mood, the mood of the Manjaris is they want to see Radha and Krishna together. They want to bring them together, not separate. They're not interested in being with Krishna separately. They're only interested to see the divine couple together and enjoying, and they facilitate the enjoyment of Radha and Krishna. So that's his role, and that's this purpose of the Manjaris coming into this world in their sadhaka, in an asadhaka form, as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in this case. We hear about his birth this evening, if Krishna wills. We won't touch on that this morning. But that's his eternal constitution. They're not ordinary jivas. They are eternal nityasiddhas. Eternal, they never come under the influence, neither do they have the tendency to come under the influence of the material nature. We, as Tatastha Shakti, they're Shakti Tattvas, they're internal energies of the Lord. We're marginal energies. And we have this tendency to waver in our object of our, or goal of our conscious or our hearts. But these souls do not. They come into this world to give their association. They have nothing to gain from in this world other than bringing more pleasure to Radha and Krishna. That's their objective, sole objective coming into this world, to, we could say, to connect the Tatastha Shakti with the Supreme Lord, the Jiva Shakti, to connect the Jiva Shakti, to help to bring us into that internal energy, or under the shelter of Radharani in pure devotion. So we're practicing that mood right now. They engage us in activities which are preliminary, or practices leading to this objective goal. All the various acts of sadhana bhakti are with that in mind. Many of the acts of sadhana bhakti, although they're totally transcendental and eternal, may be, you could say, be in relationship with the material world, the conditional world, our conditional nature, and so on and so forth, although in of itself all limbs of bhakti are eternal, you could say. But like deity worship, management, various forms of preaching Krishna consciousness, the publication of literature, although the subject matter itself is different, but the method of disseminating it, and so many other things, the rules and regulations, these are, basically speaking, means to come to the eternal platform. The holy name itself is the eternal platform. That's why it's said that all sadhana is meant to awaken our attraction for the holy name, which is the worship of Radha and Krishna in the most deep and essential form, realized form. The holy name remains. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said there's only two things in this world which are absolutely significant, is the holy name and the jiva. And jiva connects with the holy name. Absolutely, everything else is to help us to purely connect with the holy name. And that's the perfection. It is both the sadhana, practice, we do practice chanting, but it's also the sadhya. You will not find what we understand as, of course, on another level, yes. But in this sense, you will not find deity worship there, you will not find book distribution the way we're understanding it. Of course, it's absolute in the spiritual world, there's nothing but Krishna Katha, in one sense, at least in Golok. And other activities, people are not driving motor cars or managing temples or building temples or whatever we do, you know. There is cooking, there is some, obviously there's all these many things, but it's in a different mood, you could say. But particularly the holy name amongst their sadhanas is the eternal feature and the objective goal, which remains. It's not in any way. Yes, it does appear in this world, Golokara Prema Dana, but it's not, in one sense, not connected to this world. It's just giving its merciful association. And by the pure devotee's grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj's grace, the Lord appears in his transcendental form from chanting Hare Krishna under their shelter. They call Krishna. The same with the deity. The deity is not a stone. The deity or Krishna appears there by the call of his pure devotee. And those devotees who follow the pure devotee of the Lord in their deity worship will also experience and will also realize Krishna's presence in the deity worship. He's also there. But you could say the form which he appears on is eternal to those whose hearts are pure. But the deity, in a sense, is compiled of the energies of the Lord. We'll move on. Madhuyojvala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gora Kuruna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Madhuyojvala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gora Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the personified energy of Sri Chaitanya's mercy, who delivers devotional service, which is enriched with conjugal love of Radha and Krishna, coming exactly in the line of revelation of Srila Rupa Goswami. And this is our line, of course, where Rupanugas and Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj particularly was a follower, every one of our acharyas, but in this case particularly a direct representative of Rupa Goswami appearing in this world. He couldn't tolerate anything which was contrary to the teachings of Rupa Goswami. He's our, as we mentioned here, Siksha Guru. He's our primary Siksha Guru, Rupa Goswami. And Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, all the Goswamis, Gopal Bhatt, Raghunath Bhatt, they are our, Prabhupada himself said, our Siksha Gurus, all of our acharyas in line, different ways, but they're all our Siksha Gurus. We may have our Siksha Gurus in our present day Sangha, no doubt about that. But they're basically guiding us to take shelter of the eternal Siksha Gurus. Namaste Gauravani Shimurtaye Dinatarine Upanuga Viruda Apasiddhanta Dvantaharine Namaste Gauravani Shimurtaye Dinatarine Upanuga Viruda Apasiddhanta Dvantaharine. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are the personified teachings of Lord Chaitanya. You are the deliverer of all the fallen souls. You do not tolerate any statement which is against the teachings of devotional service enunciated by Srila Rupa Goswami. We're going to come back to this in a minute. I don't know how we're going to do that. I need to go on to a non... I guess we should say that. Maybe you can see it on the PowerPoint too if I am able to do that. Let me see if we can do it. Going out of there, and we're going to another page, but I don't know if we'll do it. I don't think it will. I don't know how these things work. If I cancel this out, let me see if we knock that off the screen. And we go there. I don't know if you can see anything. You can see some, looks like clouds. I don't know what is it. Maybe it's some hills with clouds. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. We don't have to see it. There's not much value seeing it, to be honest. Okay, so we're going to, just as we mentioned earlier, I don't know, let's see if Srila Prabhupada, whatever we hope it's something which you'll be pleased with. Words of recognition of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. We're going to read some statements made by Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj and by our Srila Prabhupada also. As we heard earlier, he's a Vaikuntha man. He's a Vaikuntha man. Now we're thinking, what does that mean? We're all going to go to Vaikuntha. Am I going to end up with 4 arms, running around there worshipping God with reverence or something? Om Namo Narayan, Om Namo Narayan, is this our goal? That's a good goal, but that's not the goal of Lord Chaitanya's movement. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj certainly did very much appreciate the Sri Sampradaya. He spent much time studying the Sri Sampradaya and associating with the Sri Sampradaya, and incorporated many of their wonderful devotional specialities or whatever into his mission, especially the wonderful standardized deity worship which they emphasize, and particularly Vaishnava Seva, service to devotees, and selfless service to the Guru and to devotees, which is very prominent in the Sri Sampradaya. But that's not the goal. Certainly, it's a path to their goal, or to a particular goal. But it's not the goal of Lord Chaitanya. It's not that it's not the goal either. Some of Lord Chaitanya's followers were actually in that mood. Balabhabat. Not Balabhabat, what's his name? Venkatbat. Some of them were in that mood of worshipping the Lord in reverence like that. And others were in the mood of worshipping the Lord as Sitaram. And everything comes out in the process of purification of the heart. At this moment of our time, we can say it may be a sentiment, it may not be an absolute one, it may be a relative one right now. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj very much respected all of the Sampradaya. If we go to Mayapur there, in the Gaudiya Math Ashram, you'll see there's one temple which is for the 4, recognizing the 4 Sampradayas, Vaishnava Sampradayas. He wanted to bring them all together to glorify Krishna. At this stage, and you could say maybe the methodology is slightly different, the means slightly different, but the principle is the same, to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Krishna in his various forms. He wanted to bring them all together to preach this message all over the world, unification. His father was very much into this also. So he's a Vaikuntha man. Well, Vaikuntha doesn't just mean a planet. It means a man or a personality who's beyond this world, which is Kunta Loka, the world of, well, we could say anxiety in one sense, stress, the world of suffering, because we're in the wrong place. When you're lost, you generally don't feel very comfortable. You're not very comfortable. When we're out of our comfort zone, we're not very comfortable. When we're dropped in the middle of the ocean, we're not very comfortable. So nobody's very comfortable in this world, really. We may take all arrangements, nice cushions, nice beds, nice cars, nice wives, nice children, nice money, nice husbands, nice doctors, nice everything. But it's just a temporary painkiller or become kind of drugged to that we forget the reality of our existence and the sufferings of being in an unnatural situation. You get used to anything after a while, even hell. Srila Prabhupada says that Maya is so incredibly, what to say, she's so amazing that even in hell, Prabhupada said, the living entity thinks, I'm not so bad. It's not so bad. I'm doing better than the guy over there at least. Temperature of his oil is 15 degrees higher than mine. He's boiling. The pot that he's boiling in is worse than mine. I've got a nice pot, or whatever it is, Anyway, get the idea. That's how Maya works. Even if I was listening to Prabhupada this morning, he was saying even a pig thinks it's having a great time. I'm really lucky I've got such a nice life. I'm so happy in this pig body. And Maya, we identify with our situation. We've completely forgotten who we are. So the pure devotees come to wake us up. They don't come just to facilitate our ignorance, our illusion. Sometimes people think that's what they're for, to fulfill my material dreams and illusions. Not at all. So a Vaikuntha man is one who's not interested in this world of Kunta, this material world. He's coming from the spiritual realm where there's no envy, there's no materialism, there's no suffering as such. The soul is eternally situated in its constitutional position, whatever it may be. As he's directly coming from Golok Vrindavan. He's not coming from the Vaikuntha planet per se. Although Goloka is also a Vaikuntha planet when we look at it in another angle. But from the definitive point of view, we see the distinction between them in so many ways. But these great souls give us a chance to enter into that spiritual world, whatever realm it's in, only by their grace. Prabhupada said, what can I say about him? He was asked, can he speak something about his spiritual master? Prabhupada said, what can I say about him? He's a Vaikuntha man. He's not of this world. We make descriptions. He was tall, he had long arms. This and this and that and this and did this and he did that and he did this and he did that in this world. All of which, of course, indicate somebody who's not of this world. He had all the symptoms of a Mukta Purusha, or ever liberated soul. But we'll hear more of that tonight, maybe if time allows. But Prabhupada says he's a Vaikuntha man. And pure devotees, out of great humility, feel, I'm a man of this world, or whatever it is. Who am I to describe that which is beyond material description? But for our purification, and to evoke, we hope, to evoke their blessings, their mercy, to help free us from our material perception, our material concepts, we endeavor to glorify them. We endeavor to try to apply their will in our lives. And Prabhupada wrote one time to Achyutananda, this back in 1971, when the devotees first went. Prabhupada sent a couple of devotees to Calcutta. I think Ramanuj and Achyutananda were the first two, and then Jayapataka came next. But he sent them there in 1970 maybe, alone. They stayed with Prabhupada's godbrothers here, and there was nowhere else to stay. And they had some challenges. And Prabhupada wrote to Achyutananda, who learned Bengali very quickly so he could preach there. He did tremendous preaching. And Prabhupada wrote to him in 1971. Because if you've been to Mayapur, there's the road in front of the Chandradoya Mandir which goes down to the ghat where the boats are, or goes the other way to Yogapit, where Lord Chaitanya's birthplace, is known as Bhakti Siddhanta Road. As in Vrindavan we have Bhaktivedanta Marg, the road in front of the Krishna Balaram temple. There in Mayapur it's the Bhakti Siddhanta Marg, or road. In front of it goes right in front of our temple. And it's a little raised above the land around. And oftentimes when there's a river Ganges starts to flood, the road is high enough to keep the Ganges from flooding our land. Many times it's not, or it rises in other ways and comes from different angles. But that year, 71, or maybe 1970, I don't know, 1971, there was a flood, but the road had protected our little land, nothing much on the land, just a little kutir, from getting flooded. So Prabhupada said, yes, we were saved by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's road. We should always expect to be saved by his divine grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada. Always pray to his lotus feet. Whatever success we have had in preaching Lord Chaitanya's message all over the world, it is only due to his mercy. That was Prabhupada's letter, the mercy of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, the most merciful personality. Prabhupada said that just a few little things, there's unlimited things, but just a few. The Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj would say in Bengali, Prana Chaitar se hetu pachar. Nice line to learn. Pran achayar se hetu pachar. A very famous statement Prabhupada would make. A person must have life to be a preacher. A dead man cannot preach. That's a fact. Mahavishnu Goswami, I'll never forget one time. He was being challenged by some ISKCON devotees who'd left ISKCON, and they were criticizing ISKCON. That it's so many problems you have in this movement, You haven't got it together, this, that, the other, or Siddhanta, so many things they were saying. You have so many problems. And Maharaj said, so, you don't have those problems? No. And then he said, only a dead body has no problems. No, not meant as a criticism, it's just a meditation. It doesn't mean there's no preaching, they're dead or anything. But it's a fact. When you're alive, there will be problems, especially when one tries to preach, whatever they are. We're not dealing with eternal associates here. We're trying to deal with ourselves, of lowly conditioned souls coming from God knows where, and other lowly conditioned souls. So there's definitely going to be some challenges involved in trying to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya in this world. Not easy. That's how you get the mercy, not by avoiding the challenge, but by taking the challenge. If we avoid the challenge, we have to stay in our whatever concept we're in for a long time. And by taking the challenge, then one gets the mercy of the Lord. When some of his preachers who had gone to chant and speak reported that no one had attended their meeting, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta replied, that doesn't matter. The 4 walls will hear you. That is sufficient. Prabhupada wrote in one letter. And we're not worried about getting recognized by a bunch of asses. Our only desire is to be recognized by Krishna, that he has tried to do something for me. We will preach, Prabhupada said, we will preach in the desert. We will preach to the sun and the moon. We're not worried whether anyone listens, or where we are, but we're not, even if they don't, we're going to carry on preaching. It's not dependent on results, which we perceive as results. We don't perceive the real result. We always judge things on this material platform, numbers, and so on and so forth. Something with form, something that can be measured. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, anything that can be measured is Maya. It's one of the definitions of Maya. Of course, we're trying to engage that Mayic perception in the service of the Lord. It becomes transcendental. But we can't become attached to it or dependent upon it. We have to depend on the absolute, not the relative. How many followers, how many temples, how big the temple is, how much money we're collecting, how many books we're distributing. All this, you could say it's good, it's related, but it's not the absolute dependence, not the objective. These are just means to try to come to that objective. If they don't, then they're impediments. So the result or no result, right, is the endeavor, is to please Krishna. This is the objective, is to please Krishna. Even if everyone else doesn't appreciate, but if Krishna is pleased, our endeavor is successful. That's the idea. So Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj was not in any way a man who depended upon public reciprocation or public opinion. No period of what he does. They don't expect it. They simply glorify the Lord, and whatever happens, happens. They don't compromise. That is sufficient. Don't be disappointed. Go on chanting. And in commenting on the fact some of his disciples had fallen away, he said, some of the soldiers will die. It's inevitable. It's a battle. We're having our own inner battles, outer battles. Obviously nobody wants to fall. And if someone falls, we try to pick them up. But sometimes it happens. In any battle, there is no loss. Prabhupada himself one time said, don't be surprised at those who leave. Be surprised at those who stay. So let's be on that side of the fence. That will bring more pleasure to the all. Everything's pleasurable in one sense. Any amount of devotional service is never lost. It's very pleasing to the Lord, but it's more pleasing if we continue the course. And don't let go. Hold on, as we'll see in a minute. I didn't really put much energy into this in terms of time or organization. I just put some quotes together here and there. They're not in any necessary order, slight order, but not much. One thing about Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, he had thousands of disciples, but he never considered them his disciples. He never regarded my disciples like that. He used to see them as being that which was received from the lotus feet of his Guru. He saw them coming from the lotus feet of his Guru, and he saw that they were his masters. He would address his disciples as Prabhu, Master, Master. And he saw his role to serve them. Prabhupada had exactly the same mood. He never thought this temple belongs to me, this disciple belongs to me. My duty is to serve them. My duty is to remind them of their relationship with Krishna. It's my good fortune to have this opportunity to serve this wonderful devotee, this wonderful soul. Pure devotees see like that. Not that I'm doing it. I made you a devotee, Prabhu. You should bow down. Don't you remember? I made you a devotee. You might think you're a guru now, but I made you a devotee. I'm actually your guru. Whatever thoughts come in our mind, It's not the mood of a devotee. We're instrumental. We're simply instrument of the will of our Guru and the will of Krishna. To fulfill, or try to offer ourselves to them, to do as they wish with, to engage us accordingly in their service. He used to address them as Prabhu. In his address to the Gaudiya Math's first Vyasa Puji, he has addressed his disciples as such. My friends, rescuers from danger. He addressed them, you, my friends, are rescuers from danger. You are rescuing me from danger. He also wrote, if a Vaishnava does not do the work of a guru, then the spiritual lineage will stop. And that we have to bear in mind as a big topic in of itself, isn't it? Again, if he does the work of a guru, then he becomes a non-Vaishnava. So we have a conflict here, a contradiction almost. You have to be a guru so the lineage will carry on. But if you're a guru, if you think you're a guru, then you're a non-Vaishnava. So where do we stand? Again, if he does the work of a guru, for if the guru thinks, it's a question of the attitude. If the guru thinks, I am a guru, listen to me, come to me, I am a guru, We put it up in lights, It said that the disciple, because we do advertise the Guru in one sense, but not in another sense. We're not, this is not a Guru cult or anything like that. The Guru is the external manifestation of Krishna. He's giving us the gate, the opportunity to approach Krishna. So he's glorious in that sense, absolutely glorious on the same level as Krishna. But he's not Krishna, he's a servant of Krishna. And the Guru's desire is to see that we glorify Krishna. That's his intention. If a Guru thinks, I am a Guru, in other words, you think I'm the doer. These are my disciples, you're my disciple, listen to me. Sometimes you may speak like that, but the attitude is one of service. The first letter U, letter in the word Guru, disappears. The word becomes a, Garu, or cow. They become like a cow, seeing themselves in the center as the enjoyer. A real Guru does not make disciples, and thus he remains a Guru. We don't make disciples, we don't make devotees. We just play our part and serve and try to do our best. And by the mercy of our Guru, the mercy of Krishna, some souls may come along. We'll have the good opportunity to associate and serve them. Here we see Siddhanta Saraswati giving a very strong warning. That's just an afternote, isn't it? About the idea of overlordship, or being the master of anyone. We're not the master of anyone. We're the servant of Krishna and servant of everyone. Let's see where. This is one of the favorites. Difficult thing to preach. Even Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj was teaching. Prabhupada teaches us also. Right now there's a very wonderful paper, I presume it's wonderful, I haven't read it, being produced by the GBC Shastric Committee and a committee of the GBC to establish a Siddhantic approach to our ISKCON movement with the various pramayas, or the means of proving various points of truth, establishing the main pinnacles of the movement's concept, or spiritual concepts, how to achieve those concepts, and so on and so forth like that. There's being a document being produced. What a little I've read, it sounds pretty good. And we see the constitution, he had a constitution, but the constitution of our movement, you can see it from different angles. One is from the angle of, interaction with this world, which is essential, the institution's objectives, and which we have, and most of you are familiar with that. Document, the incorporation document of ISKCON, which was based upon Prabhupada's written constitution. And in different ways we see this, different objectives. That's in relationship with the material world, to bring matter into spirit, transform matter to spirit. But there's the real constitution, when we go beyond that, is, let's say, the inner one. We find that in various writings of Srila Prabhupada. For instance, in Makane Bhagavat Dharma, we can see the real essence of the constitution. It's not so much a set of do's and don'ts or rules and regulations. It's not even necessarily, it is, but it's not necessary, it's based on that. But it's not necessarily just a statement of various truths. God, Krishna is God, we're eternal spirit souls, our real constitution is to serve Krishna. These are all facts. But all that anyone can repeat, which we do, but it's the consciousness in which we act. This is the consciousness in which we act, which is really the essential feature, and that we can see that total dependence which Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj was expressing, or does express, putting it into practice, depending wholly and solely on the mercy of Krishna. You'll find that in Prabhupada's Markandeya Bhagavat Dharma. So here we find the same principle coming. After his Guru Maharaj in 1915 passed away from the world, he was lamenting terribly. His Guru Maharaj was Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji. His father, who was also Guru in more ways than one, but because of family allegiance or family alignment, you don't generally take initiation from one's father, but rather somebody else who's equally qualified. His father, Bhaktivinoda, passed away in 1914. In 1915, Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj passed away. He lamenting terribly. Now, what was he lamenting for? I mean, different reasons. But primary reason, other than losing the association of his eternal spiritual master in this realm, he was lamenting, now who will correct me? Who will chastise me? Who will I go to? There was no one else around who he could go to, basically. And he knew his spiritual master, Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji, had given him instruction to preach. One of his last words for him was to preach this message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fearlessly. Go out and preach. But he was hesitant, with no one there to correct him. He had no movement at that time. He had some disciples. First disciple was in 1906, even in the presence of his own initiating guru and his father. He was also initiating, but very few. From 1906 onwards, he'd initiated. And one of his last initiates, Kunjabi was one of his last. Came Kunjabi Hari. He was one of his last during that period, not one of his first, but during that period, before this, at this time. And he very much encouraged Bhaktisiddhanta as well to preach this message. Let's go, let's do it together. But Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, in great humility, felt himself completely unqualified. You see the same theme in Srila Prabhupada's Markandeya Bhagavat Dharma. No qualification, only if you want, my Lord. So they show us that the real essence, or the real any success that we have, is not necessarily measured in buildings and numbers and money and this and that, but is measured in this way, how much we're absolutely depending upon the Lord and not. This is Sarvadharma Pratyagya, how much we're surrendered. So he said, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, how shall I preach to the world the pure message of Sri Chaitanya and establish the heart's desire of my gurus? I have no support of people. I have no wealth. I do not have any learning or intelligence which can attract the common people. He felt himself completely unqualified. Same thing Prabhupada said, I have no knowledge, I have no devotion. I'm helpless, I'm wretched, and the most lowly. Feeling like that, if we think, I'm very qualified, I've got a master's degree in something or another, I can show you how to do things. That's not a very good approach. We can use that if it so happens to be useful, but we shouldn't think this is a qualification by any means. Oh, I know how to do this, I know how to do that. I'm very charismatic, listen to me, I'm a good speaker, by the way. I've got a very good memory, and I know all verses from the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, and I can speak for days just repeating verses. But and hopefully you'll become my disciple after all of that, and give me some money or I won't come back again. Whatever it is, conditional. It's not their mood. They're just total humility. That night, this is from the biography, there's so many biographies have been, not so many, some biographies have been written in ISKCON. The primary one is Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhav. It's the phenomenal book written by His Holiness Bhakti Vikash Maharaj. It's a phenomenal contribution to our movement, and in due course of time every devotee should read it when the time is there, maybe not straight away. And there's others, one were Rupa Vilas, the Ray of Vishnu, and probably a few others too, which have been produced. All of them give us deeper and deeper insights into the association of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj and a deeper appreciation of our own Guru by the Siksha or Diksha Srila Prabhupada. He took rest that night after saying that. At that time, he saw in a visionary trance, he was lying down, and then suddenly he saw in a visionary trance the Panchatattva and their Sankirtan associates entering from the east. He was in Rajapatana, this is the place now, near the Gaudiya Math there, or Radhakundi or somewhere like that. He was lying down there in what's called the Natya Mandir, dancing. He saw them enter onto the eastern side of that mandir where he was lying down. Near the site of Lord Chaitanya's appearance, there are effulgence lighting up the whole scene. With them were Vaishnav Sarvabhauma, Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and other previous acharyas. They gave him many assurances and told him, this is the real insurance policy, not the AIA insurance or whatever you get in this world. This is the real insurance. They gave him many assurances and told him, don't you worry at all. With supreme enthusiasm, preach the conclusion of pure devotion. The conclusion, not just something, kind of related. In intense earnestness, chant the glories of the name, abode, form, attributes, associates, and pastimes of Godhead at various places. All of us will help you. There is no need to worry. The support of unlimited people, countless wealth, and boundless learning await the blessing of being engaged in the service of your preaching. They will be received when they are necessary. No type of worldly hindrance or danger will be able to make any obstruction for this great work of yours. We are always with you. What an amazing vision. And to some degree we can at least think like that. We may not see it, but we have to remember that we're not alone. We're only by the mercy of the Lord Panchatattva and all the great devotees will this movement progress. Will we progress? Will other living entities be able to wake up, come to Krishna consciousness? Not by our doing. It's one of the biggest lessons he taught. We're not the doer. We're not even the seer. One of the most profound of his lectures was discussing Drishta, who is the actual seer. We're not the real seer. We may think like that. It's Krishna as the seer. He's seeing us. Prabhupada coined the phrase, don't try to see Krishna, act in a way that Krishna will see you. This is the same principle that Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj philosophically explained. Like that. Many points could be brought up in that little statement there, but I think you get the point. My Guru Maharaj's contribution, Prabhupada said, is that he defeated the caste Goswamis. He defeated this Brahmanism. He did it in the same way as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasi, Shudakeni Nai, Ye Krishna Tattva Veta, Se Guru Hai. There is no consideration whether one is a sannyasi, a Brahmin, a Shudra, or a Grihastha. No, anyone who knows the science of Krishna, he is all right. He is a Goswami, he is a Brahmin. It's the order of Lord Chaitanya to preach this message. It's not like, just a nice thing to do. It's his order to us to preach, some way or another to preach this message, however we can, whatever we can do. But to spread this message of Krishna consciousness. This was my Guru Maharaj's contribution. And for this reason he had to face so many vehement protests from these Brahmins of the caste Goswamis. They were so upset whether it is his preaching in Navadvip at least, they were asking money to get darshan of the deities. That was how it was going on in many cases. What to speak of their taking claim to being the elite, and nobody else really had access to it. They were the elite class, and they were above everybody. So he really attacked that, and they didn't like it. These things. It's funny enough. It's actually 100 years this year itself when this occurred, 1925. That the Navadvip Parikrama, he established the Navadvip Dham Parikrama, and he was the one who established it in this day and age. And since then, it's been going on. Maybe very shortly they'll be doing it. And he established it. So in 1925, the large parikrama, he was leading the parikrama. Many gundas, many dacoits and all kinds of people were engaged. They attacked the parikrama path with stones and bricks and sticks, and they were beating the devotees and chasing them. And they were hired by these caste Brahmins to try to smash Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj and his followers. It was quite fierce. Quite the same thing happened in Vrindavan some years later. He was not popular. He was revealing their hypocrisy, their cheating techniques, and so on. And nobody likes that. Nobody likes that. Somebody's challenging my authority. We have no authority. Krishna's the only authority. We're his servants. So he was totally dependent on Krishna, fearless. And of course in both incidents it came out good. But there was so much opposition. The Mayavadis, the Sahajyas, the caste Brahmins, and so much opposition was what to speak of the atheists and the pseudo-religionists and so on, the Brahmos. So many were challenging him and saying, opposing what he was trying to do, because, anyways, we know that goes on all the time. So you expect some opposition when you preach the truth. Prabhupada said this is a sign that your preaching is successful when you get opposition. And nice statement. There is no Dharma other than Vaishnava Dharma. It is the eternal Dharma of all jivas. Whatever else is propagated to the world is either a step toward or a perversion of Vaishnava Dharma. There is no use in being a Christian, Muslim, Hindu, animal, bird, tree, demigod, human or demon. Let all become Vaishnavas and be situated in their eternal constitutional position. This is what Mahaprabhu effected when he went to South India, where he loudly chanted the Lord's glories whilst travelling. His chant had created many Vaishnavas. His only weapon was the chanting of the holy names. Those who became Vaishnavas in turn made others into Vaishnavas by acting as spiritual masters under Mahaprabhu's order. There is no dharma for the living entity other than kirtan, chanting of the holy name of God. To the extent that one disbelieves in bhakti or the devotional service as denoted by kirtan or the holy name, in other words, if one thinks that all wants cannot be fulfilled by kirtan, to that extent one is a nastika, an atheist. The degree of help one gives in propagating bhakti as denoted by kirtan is the sole measure of one's belief in God. On the other hand, a man is a nastika, a disbeliever, to the extent that he obstructs the kirtan. Since the name has to be chanted every moment, even while eating or sleeping, since bhakti, denoted by kirtan, is the only dharma of the living being, since there is no dharma but this, where then is the time to get rid of flood or famine or found hospitals? Those who claim to be positivists, but forget the greatest of all facts, death, those who have fallen like the blind man led by the blind, and who under the spell of the enchantress loiter about like travellers without an objective. It is such people who have time to work other than Hari Kirtan, chanting of the holy name of Krishna. All efforts except Hari Kirtan cause samsara, the worldly sojourn, the road leading not to the east but in the opposite direction. On the other hand, by the all-time Hari Kirtan, one turns away from every other direction to face the east, or the journey homeward. The Hare Krishna movement is the missionary of this all-time Kirtan. The movement asks not that all efforts of the world be destroyed, but that they be deflected in their course. The Hare Krishna movement begs every one of us to offer his all to Krishna. The opulence of the Hare Krishna movement is for the sole purpose of making all efforts of the world Krishna para, having Krishna as their goal. The offering to Krishna comes first. After the offering has been made, bhakti begins. The Hare Krishna movement says, make the offering to Krishna first, and after that has been done, profess to be a bhakta or a devotee. The Hare Krishna movement says, do not imitate the kirtankari, one who does kirtan. Don't imitate. Anukara, imitation, is a mere burlesque. By arraying oneself in the trappings of a devotee, like a harlequin, one may deceive people, but one does no good either to oneself or to others. In other words, trying to put on a show, trying to be something like, whatever showman type of an act, dressing very, foppishly and trying to sing in a way that everyone's, mundane. Attraction is there. Self-centered. We don't do that. It is those who follow the kirtankari, those whose chanting is pure, those who are genuine kirtanis, that are really their own benefactors or properly alive to self-interest. They are also benefactors of others and mindful of others' interests. They are not blinded by considerations of undue personal advantages, nor do they cheat others. They are therefore truly disinterested. It is by kirtan alone that the claims of self-interest, the interests of others, and disinterestedness are simultaneously satisfied. By pure kirtan. He couldn't tolerate those who were cheaters. There's nothing worse than duplicity. Vaishnava, first quality is simplicity. And he would very easily, point it out and destroy it. So how do we come to that? Simply by serving the devotees in the math, means the temple, the ashram, with love and devotion, our taste for chanting the holy names will increase, and we will be qualified to chant the holy names. In other words, true humility means to develop a taste for chanting, and to become a true servant of the holy name. Service to Guru and Vaishnavas is the gateway through which we develop such taste. Give up duplicity. You should understand, I am a servant of Guru and Krishna. Show compassion to others. In order to overcome namabhas, and what to speak of namaparad, but namabhas, and get the pure name, the jiva must serve the bona fide Guru with great attention. By doing this, the anarthas will disappear, and the pure name, endowed with all spiritual potency, will dance on the devotee's tongue. At that time, we will never give up the stream of sweet nectar emanating from the holy name. The jiva will chant constantly, mad with the sweetness of the name. Enjoy, the name will dance, the jiva will dance, and the treasure of love of God will dance. The whole universe will dance, and Maya will flee. We should also remember that we cannot possibly learn to chant if we do not offer sincere and loving service to our spiritual master, who is an acharya of the holy name. When by serving Guru and Krishna, the heart becomes purified, the Lord's pure name will appear in the heart. Otherwise we will continue to commit offences against the name. And maybe one or two more. I am overjoyed, he said, to hear of your enthusiasm for chanting is increasing. As our contaminations are removed by chanting, the Lord's form, qualities and pastimes will be revealed to us in the holy name. There is no point in making a separate effort to artificially remember the Lord's form, qualities and pastimes. The Lord and his name are the same. This will be understood clearly when the coverings in your heart are removed. By chanting without offenses, you will personally realize that all perfections come from the holy name. Through chanting, the distinction that exists between the self and the gross and subtle bodies is gradually effaced, and one realizes one's own spiritual form. Once aware of the spiritual body, as one continues to chant, one sees the transcendental nature of the Lord's form. Only the holy name reveals the spiritual form of the living being, and then causes him to be attracted to Krishna's form. Only the holy name reveals the spiritual qualities of the living being, and then causes him, causes him to be attracted to Krishna's qualities. Only the holy name reveals the spiritual activities of the living being, and then causes him to be attracted to Krishna's pastimes. By service to the holy name, we do not only mean the chanting of the holy name, it also includes the other duties of the chanter. If we serve the holy name with the body, mind and soul, then the direction of that service spontaneously appears manifest, like the sun in a clear sky of the chanter's heart. What is the nature of the holy name? Eventually all these understandings spontaneously appear in the heart of one who chants the holy name. The true nature of Harinam is revealed by listening to, reading and studying scriptures. It is unnecessary to write anything further on this subject. All these things will be revealed to you through chanting. And this is one of his last statements, just basically a day or two before he left the world. He left the world early in the morning of January the 1st, 1937. Though Vedically speaking, it was the last day of 1936. Holding the blade of grass between my teeth, I prayed time and again for this only boon, that I may be a particle of dust of the lotus feet of the most revered Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhu. Let there be birth after birth for us, that we may walk in the path of the followers of Sri Rupa, by being the particles of dust on the lotus feet of the devotees of God. The root of it all is humility, or the due realization of one's own ineligibility. If the conviction of our unfitness for the service of God is revealed to us, either automatically or by the instruction of other persons, we are only then in a position to appreciate the beauty of the lotus feet of God's devotees. We're going to finish there. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. To say it is what it is. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Tonight, and maybe during the day, I don't know what's going to happen, let's see. We'll have more time to hear and chant about Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj and how it's so relevant to us. I mean, these may be a little deep, a little bit difficult to follow, but the essence of these teachings here are so significant to every devotee. The attitude in our service is the primary feature here. The total dependence and the realization of our total inability and the importance of service to devotees. We're not here to control devotees, we're here to serve devotees. We're here to serve not just the Guru, but to serve the devotees as well. I think it was Gaur Govinda Maharaj used to say like that it gives the example sometimes of how the lotus flower blossoms. For the lotus to blossom, certainly the sun has to be there, Krishna has to be there. For lotus to blossom, certainly you have to be in disciplic succession. Certainly we have to be initiated by a bona fide guru in the line of parampara. In other words, the lotus has to be connected to the ground by its stem. There has to be a ground there also, of course, that's obvious. But that's not enough. Without the water around the lotus, it would dry up. The water is the association of devotees. It's the most essential, practically speaking. Without that, there will be no, even though the sun is there, even though you're initiated, without the association of devotees, which it means service to the devotees, then the lotus or the blossoming of our pure devotion will not take place. It's most essential. So these are just a few lessons. What to speak of being uncompromising, speaking the truth in a palatable way, if possible, but the truth must be spoken. Whether people like it or not, the truth ultimately has to be spoken. We have to learn how to present that in a way, or how to help people to come to hear the truth. That's another topic in itself, how to preach. Not just about immaturely, as he said here. First of all, you come to realize this, then you can yourself really take this position. So we have to apply these things to ourselves also. And be an instrument for the message of Lord Chaitanya. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai. I don't know, what's the schedule this evening? Is it confirmed? No change, please. It's changed 3 times in the last 24 hours. Pushpanjali and Guru Puja at 7. We can't do Pushpanjali at the same time as Guru Puja. Which is first, Guru Puja? So is it going to be simultaneous with the deity arti? That's an important point for everyone, and whoever's doing the trays and things, you have to have this is most temples, I don't know what you normally do here, but generally it's done at midday, but because most of you are out and about and more people are expected this evening, it's being done this evening. So the Guru Puja will be simultaneous with the Gaur Arti. Okay. And immediately after that we'll have Pushpanjali, and immediately after that will be part 2, or part 1 really, of the presentation. Is that okay? Makes sense? And we're going on Harinam at 10 o'clock? Coming back at 6. Okay. Lunch will be brought out to you. Actually we're fasting. But around about 2 o'clock some khichdi and curry sauce will arrive. And they get back at 6 to go straight into... Isn't there a kirtan at 6? Western... whatever called. The kirtan team. So I hope you're looking forward to a big day of kirtan. Only 8 hours, nothing much. Non-stop kirtana. And we're going to walk to the city centre on kirtana. Cross the bridge. Bring your bank cards. Costs a lot of money, isn't it? To walk across the bridge. Crazy, huh? You can't even walk these days, you've got to pay to walk. Is there a free walk? Maybe there is a free walk. Oh, you can walk freely. I thought you had to pay a lot of money to go across the bridge. On the flat you can walk. You've got to pay if you want to walk up the hill and down again. You've got to pay money. Crazy world we live in. Hare Krishna. Jai Jai Jai. Hari Bol. Take it away. That little one.